Hello everyone and welcome back to another GTA Online guide, where in this video we're going to be taking a look at the LF-22 Starling, included as part of the Smuggler's Run DLC, and it's probably the most interesting plane of the bunch. So let's take a closer look, shall we? So at the price of 3.7 million undiscounted, you get a bomber plane which can drop bombs. Yes, if you take it to the mod shop and get it all jacked up, you'll see that you can choose from an array of different kinds of bombs. I'm going to have a separate video dedicated to the different kinds of bombs and their effectiveness, but for now in this video I armed it with cluster bombs because nothing screams insane dismemberment like a whole bunch of cluster bombs. Oh yeah, die, 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 die! But before I get ahead of myself, let's take a closer look at some of the customizability, shall we? So just like the Molotov, you're able to equip it with some uprated armor as well as some countermeasures against missiles. But because this is a bomber plane, as mentioned before, you have a choice of standard explosive, incendiary, gas or cluster bombs. So moving on, we also have the ability to uprate its handling, change the livery, change the colours, attach missile launchers, and finally we also have the ability to uprate the rocket booster on this plane, which I'll explain very shortly. Anyways, with the plane all jacked up, let's hit the skies. So this plane's a bit weird compared to all the other planes that you're used to. You'll find that on the runway the plane's acceleration is absolutely dreadful. That's because the amount of power that you have here is just for cruising through the sky, like if you're going on a bombing run. If you want to take off, gain altitude, or just generally go faster, you use the horn/gear button to activate the booster at the back. This gets you up to speed quickly and allows you to take off and do the usual stuff that you do in every other plane. What the upgrade does is it essentially increases the amount of boost that you have in the plane. So you use the booster to make the plane go fast, which by the way it's toggleable on and off, unlike the booster that you find on the Rocket Voltic and the Oppressor, which just burns till it runs out. The capacity is quite large on this thing, so you don't really have to worry about being caught with your pants down, unless you're trying to use this plane for dogfighting, which it's not intended for, and you're going to have a bad time. Anyways, the first thing that you're going to notice about this plane when you first fly it is that the handling is rather weird compared to other planes. It's hard to explain, it feels unstable. Thankfully, when it's just cruising in a straight line, it's nice and stable, making the act of bombing nice and easy to control. Speaking of controls, to do a bombing run you have to first open the hatch by holding down the mode button. Simply pressing it releases the flares, so try not to get those two mixed up so you don't waste anything while you're on a long flight. Anyways, with the hatch open you can press the cinematic view button to get a bird's eye view straight down for easier bomb dropping. Once you're all lined up and ready, you can press the button once to drop just one bomb, or you can hold it down to unleash a carpet strike. This is awesome. Though I'd recommend that you don't fly too high, as the bombs become very difficult to see past a certain distance, and the bombs and explosions even turn invisible past a certain distance, so you can't exactly see the damage that you're inflicting. Then once you're done bombing, you can close the hatch again and proceed on with the flight. The plane has standard missile launchers as well as non-explosive machine guns, which personally I think should only be used for air-to-ground strikes rather than actual dogfighting. You see, the plane is actually rather quick while the booster is active, but once it runs out, or isn't running at all, the plane barely has the propelling power to keep itself up in flight. So you really have to be careful about how you manage your power, though it does charge up again over time, so it's not really a case of completely running out of fuel. If you thought you got used to the plane by now, then you need to try landing the darn thing. Forget all of those informal landings that you always do in every other aircraft in the game. In this thing you need to be going dead straight, otherwise you're going to have a struggle keeping this thing under control. Not only that, touchdown is often the most difficult part of the landing. This thing likes to bounce. A lot. You really have to get used to this plane before you can start using it effectively on the battlefield. But other than that, this plane is a really nice addition to GTA Online, and I highly advise that you grab yourselves one of these, as it's a ton of fun to use. And hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the Pyro Gaming channel for loads more videos coming to you very soon. See you around, everyone.